I mean, when I gave up teaching to join the CIA, I thought everything was going to be different. I thought I was going to be this amazing spy. I'm just the same boring person I was before.
Well, for what it's worth, I think you're brilliant as you are. You're exciting.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Paul Allen. Congratulations on winning the 11-Second Club competition this month. I work at a studio called Mighty Coconut currently in Austin, Texas. I'm the animation, rigging, and layout supervisor for a not announced web series that we're doing that's coming out next year. My work history, I worked at DNA Productions starting off out of school. I've been in the industry about 20 years. Worked at DNA Productions, worked on June Neutron movie, TV series, The Ant Bully, and some other Christmas specials and stuff like that. And I've worked at some game companies as well. I worked at KingsIsle down in Austin, and I worked at Terminal Reality. And I've also worked at ReelFX. I've worked on Freebirds, Book of Life, Rock Dog, which is coming out soon, and got to animation supervise some commercial projects before I came down to Austin to work. So let's take a look at your work. I think it's.
I mean, when I gave up teaching to join the CIA, I thought everything was going to be different. I thought I was going to be this amazing spy. I'm just the same boring person I was before.
Well, for what it's worth, I think you're brilliant as you are. You're exciting.
I mean, when I gave
I really
up
like it.
teaching
I
to
like
join
it.
the CIA,
It has a nice, fun, lively feel to it. The first thing I did notice when I loaded it up is my first impression is because I looked over here, and because that was fun. It's very appealing look overall. But the first thing, and it is a weird thing to notice, is that it felt like I was like, wow, that's a long torso, and it's mostly because we can't see where, you know, if it tapers down and into the legs, can't see where, you know, the legs are at. So I know the legs are probably just right off, but that was just an impression, so that's just something to think about. I think as far as everything, the characters are staying on model. They're expressive, and I think that's fun.
I mean, when I gave up teaching to join the CIA, I thought everything was going to be different. I thought I was going to be this amazing spy. I'm just the same boring person I was.
And that's really effective, and it has just the appeal is so important with an animated piece, and I think you have that. You have some nice oppositional movement going on, and some nice gaps in spacing, make it nice and quick. And I like this little hand twiddle as they go all the way back, as the panda goes all the way back. I think maybe if there's, you know, stuff like this is really subjective, maybe it's too much, it's just a little bit too broad. I know she's very sort of agitated, but that's, you know, a certain amount of that is subjectiveness, and where the characters are looking. I think that's the another thing that sort of stood out to me, because she appears in some places to be sort of looking up, because my impression is that she's down here in the cage, and she's up here on the wall, and the wall is taller than the relative height of this, if you take the angle of the camera into account. And she's more like she's talking sort of straight out ahead, and that can be just an acting choice too, is that just sort of unfocused and just sort of talking to be talking instead of talking like literally looking at somebody. But then I noticed that as well, that this felt correct right here, looking down into where the panda is down in the little habitat. But then as she goes on, the eye line ends up a little bit higher. So that's just something over the course of the piece that it just sort of stood out to me a little bit as well. I think I think overall the spacing is looking really good, and nice arcs.
Came to join the CIA. I thought everything was going to be different. I thought it was going to be this amazing spy. I'm just...
Maybe hit a little bit, it felt like it sort of rebounded a little bit hard on the panda's head when she goes back, because she hits this big extreme and she just pops out of it. So I don't know if we need to maybe cushion just another in-between frame 100 and frame 101. It just felt like it sort of rebounded a little bit quickly. So that could maybe use another in-between in there. I really look at the faces on characters, and I think you did a really nice job getting some squash and stretch, and not deforming the hard structure of the skull too much, but keeping some nice expressive sockets. I'm big on socket scales, like when you're talking like in CG terms, like with the socket scale and things like that. I really like playing around with ideas like that overall. And I like this. I like the squash going here, and this also still sort of that's going back to the earlier thing I was talking about, is that there's no real lower body. So maybe just taking that layer, if it's on a layer, and pulling the character down just a little bit, and that'll give that height relationship difference, that she's up higher and this character's down here lower, just bringing the character down some more. So, but then that's I'm wondering in my mind if that's why you did that, because of how long you wanted to get the arms. So that's a choice to make as well. But you don't have to necessarily keep the arms in. It gives a nice pose where you can see the whole length of the arm. It's just like that keeps on catching my eye. So that's just something to think about. And stuff like that can definitely be subjective, but it stood out to me, and I keep on sort of looping back to it. So that's just something to sort of keep in mind.
Well, for what it's worth, I think you're brilliant as you are.
I really like that little taking off of the glasses. It's really nice, and I like that flipping them over. Possibly hits a little bit hard. I wonder if maybe having them slightly up, almost spacing-wise, hitting there, and then coming into position so they don't hit quite as hard. Because that's another thing to think about with like how you're playing two characters, is that she is the panda is very frantic and agitated, and so these sharp movements are very appropriate for it. Now with her, she has this very sort of smooth British accent. Very
for what
calm.
It's worth, I think you're brilliant as you are. You're exciting.
And maybe play her down a little bit, possibly the female looking over the wall just a little bit, and not have quite as snappy of movements to play that contrast against each other, and the eyeline. As the animators that I'm supervising on this project can tell you, I'm fussy about eyelines. But other than that, I mean, you're not overplaying the ponytail, and you're just making good shapes on the mouths. Very appealing, like I said before. So I enjoyed this. I think
when I gave up teaching to join the CIA, I thought everything was going to be...
I don't have a 2D background. It's all computer animation for me. But I love looking at 2D animation. I'm glad that
different. I thought it was going to be this amazing spy. I'm
enjoy
just same boring person I was
working in
before.
TV.
Well, for what it's worth,
I think it's long due for a revival. So I think this is really
brilliant
fun
as
to
you are. You're exciting.
I mean, when I gave up teaching to join the CIA, I thought everything was going to be different. I thought it was going to be this amazing spy. I'm just same boring person I was before.
Well, for what it's worth, I think you're brilliant.
Yeah, I think this is a really fun piece, and all the stuff I talked about, relatively minor. It's got great appeal, and that's the biggest thing for any animated piece. Any kind of visual art really is, what is the appeal factor to it? What makes it interesting? What makes somebody want to look at it? And this is super fun. So good job.